Hello, this is the Armchair Euros. I'm Alan Davies. How are you all? I'm here with Ty Popoola. Good morning, Tayo.
Good morning, Alan. How are you?
And Ian Stone is with me, of course.
Hello, Alan. How you doing?
I'm all right, Ian. You're on every radio programme in England at the moment.
On other stations, yes.
It started.
Hooray.
Group A.
Very excited.
Group A is what I'm talking about. Group A, which we thought was going to be the most tedious group in the tournament.
You thought that?
Yes, I did.
I thought that as well, I've got to be honest with you. I also thought that it was going to be incredibly tedious.
Where do we
the
begin?
tape will record that I did say it would be exciting.
Did you?
In its own way.
Yeah.
I think I might have had it.
Exciting in its own way.
Have you rewritten history?
We have got a recording of the last show, you know.
Last week we said, Group A, yeah, whatever. Anyway, Group A, listener, is the group that the two games played last night: Poland against Greece, and what was the other one? Russia against Czech Republic. Let's talk about the Greeks first. Down to 10 men through the dodgiest sending off yet seen at Euro 2012.
2 yellow cards, wasn't it? 2 yellow cards.
One for heading the ball and one for falling over a bloke who'd slipped.
That was essentially what happened there.
Is it a non-contact sport? Is that what we're playing now?
Apparently. That guy has sent off quite a few players, though. 16 in 19 La Liga games.
That's right. In his last 7 games, he's averaged 7 cards a game.
Yeah,
good stats, good ref stats.
Good. He is the sort of antithesis of Dermot Gallagher, if you like. Who wouldn't send anyone off unless they were shot in the face.
Well, I do remember games not being ruined by cards in my youth. But it's very unusual. You did have to shoot someone to get sent off in the 70s, but now the cards do come out too soon. Little bit.
I mean, the Greek players were not happy.
Howard Webb could have given a penalty against for Russia yesterday, but he didn't. So
yeah, that was a nailed-on pen.
It's Carlos Velasco Carballo.
This is the guy sent off the Greek fella. The first one, he's headed the ball, and then was it Lewandowski, the Polish centre forward, who went down holding his head. Now, at that point, the fourth official can radio in and say he's acting, book him.
Well, he can't, though, can he?
No, but he should be able. They should just do it anyway.
Walkie-talkie.
They've got the earpiece, just do it anyway.
Well, they do say something to each other, don't they? What do they say? What are they talking to each other about?
He says, I know exactly what happened there, but I'm not telling.
I can't. I'm not allowed.
So much trouble.
I'm getting massive amounts of trouble.
Sorry, ref.
They're recording.
You'll have to find out at half-time what balls up you made there.
It was a joke. Of course it was. But it made it quite an exciting game, don't you think? Because the Greeks suddenly had to come out, which is not something they like to do.
Well...
Even though I said last week they were the most attacking team in the world.
I think I know what you mean by that.
Please.
I don't know what you mean by that, so I'm going to rapidly move on. Wojciech Szczesny, of Arsenal's goalkeeper, covered himself in glory with a series of panic attacks.
He was feeling very sorry for the unfortunate red card, so he decided to even it up.
When the cross came in that he couldn't get anywhere near, why did he dive past it? Was he trying to clear the 18-yard line?
It was spectacular, wasn't it? And it was at least 10 foot away from the ball.
And it did equal what the Greek goalkeeper had done earlier when he dived across for the Polish cross with Lewandowski headed in but in the lead.
I actually think that's a little bit unfair.
Two rubbish goalkeepers.
No, I think that's a little bit unfair. That ball was in, I think, what they call the zone of uncertainty.
The zone of uncertainty does not start on the halfway line.
It
he had no business being there.
I don't know. It looked like he might get it, and then as he sort of came out, he went,
no, mate,
I'm not making it.
Stand on your goal line, you'd have caught that.
Yeah. That's true. But then Lewandowski might have changed the way he headed the ball.
Of course, I was following. There's a couple of very interesting Greek tweeters who were very worried about Chauklias.
You've been following the Greek tweeters?
Greek tweeters, yeah.
I was obsessed with Twitter.
They were very worried about the keeper in the first place, and
is that right?
He was known as Chalky the Clown. I saw at one point.
You're going to have to talk amongst yourselves because I've been given a cup of coffee that's so full, I'm in danger of shutting down the studio if I spill it.
He's an ex-Portsmouth keeper now.
Is he?
Chauklias, he's
right,
called, yeah.
Right.
So he didn't cover himself in glory. So that's 3 out of the 4 goalkeepers in the first 2 games who will have a look at themselves.
Dodgy keepers and dodgy referees.
Dodgy keepers and dodgy referees
is all about.
I'm about to lapse into an appalling stereotype about the African Cup of Nations.
Oh yeah,
but no, it turns out that it's the European Championship that has all the dodgy keepers and the dodgy referees.
It made it exciting. That Poland Greece
can't
game.
send people off for that. I mean, that has got to stop, hasn't it?
Well,
that Spanish bloke's got to be sent home. Rubbish next. There's plenty of referees. It was appalling.
You'd hope so. It was.
And what is the point of the fifth official who stands by the goal line and sees penalties in front of him and doesn't say anything?
Well, they've
got all these extra officials around the touchline who are not allowed to get involved in the officiating of the match.
Well, what are they all doing there?
Exactly.
I think write into UEFA. Ask them.
Write in.
That's
okay.
What do.
I'm just going to go and listen. I'll be back next week. I'm going to go and write in.
PO Box 2451.
About the fifth official. The fifth official who stands there with his legs broadly apart and his hands like he's the most macho man in the stadium, but has no influence on anything.
What about the fourth official? What's he doing?
He doesn't. He watches the telly and then phones the ref. Says, "Not telling you, mate. You've got that all wrong. I'll have your job next week."
Terrible. But like I say, made it interesting. And
Have you been practicing your pronunciations of the Greek players, Stoney?
Well, yes, I have actually. Yeah, only because you said that the Greek goalkeeper was called Titan, and I think people will think that because he was sort of 6'9" or something. But his name's Titonia, in fact.
Who's that?
Titonia, the Greek, not Greek. Sorry,
It's the Polish.
The Polish.
One.
Sorry,
When you're asked to pronounce a Greek player, you can't get away with a Polish one.
The Polish substitute goalkeeper, Titonia.
So, can you give us a couple of Greek names, seeing as you're so up for it?
Papastathopoulos.
He's the one who got sent off.
He's
Nice
the one who
work.
got sent off.
They did replace a Papadopoulos with another Papadopoulos. I noticed that was the substitution.
Well, they came back in, they got level, and then they had a penalty after Szczesny brought that guy down. Nice shot, behind the scenes shot of Szczesny celebrating while Titonia saved the pen.
He knew the camera was on him.
He knew the camera was on him. Well, he certainly knew when he turned around and saw it.
And it's a one-game ban, as I understand it. He's only out for the Russian.
Can't pick him again, though,
I
can
don't
they?
know. I wouldn't bet on it.
How can they pick him again after he's panicked like that? He's only young, 90,000 poles right behind you, and you still panic.
He got a bit pumped.
He
He did. Well, he's a young kid,
I
isn't he?
think he got pumped after the game by the management.
Yeah.
And then we had the second match, which was a thriller between Russia and a team masquerading as the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic, previously one of the most talented football teams in Europe, finalists of Euro 96, previous winners of this tournament. What, as Czechoslovakia, I point out, but what went wrong with them yesterday? They had no pressure on the ball all over the pitch. The Russians just had the freedom of the park.
The clue was with Milan Baroš actually starting that it
Milan
might not be the strongest Czech team.
But it was all about the midfield, though, wasn't it? I mean, they just didn't get close to them at all. Russia had so much time and space. They passed it. They looked a good side, actually, didn't they?
I'll tell you who I like. Arshavin.
Yeah.
He's a good player.
He'll do well.
He's a really good player.
There's been a lot of stuff for people saying, Shavin, why didn't he play like that for Arsenal? It's exactly how he played for Arsenal. Picks it up, runs with it, passes it to someone, walks back again. That's exactly how he played for Arsenal. Rosicki afterwards was asked about his erstwhile Arsenal teammate. He said, what did you think? And he said, he doesn't bother with the defence. He concentrates all his energies on attack, which I thought was a little bit barbed.
Well, he didn't have to. He didn't have to bother too much about defending yesterday because, as you say, the Czech team didn't offer anything at all.
It didn't offer anything at all.
But they'll still probably get through the group.
I don't know.
I'm not sure I want them to now. Actually, I've taken a shine to the Greeks.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. The way the Greeks came back in the second half, having the added handicap of having Georgios Samras playing for you for the entire game.
I think Russia and Poland are going to go through.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I said Russia and Czech Republic, and I'm sticking with that for the moment.
Czech Republic are not going through, mate.
Oh, I don't know. They
they're
might
dead
come
to
back.
me.
You think they're
Now, a couple of England players have been talking to the press.
Joe, hello. You're just back from the first training session at your new base. What are your impressions of it, and how did everyone get on?
Understood. Activate the ground bridge. Bumblebee, Ratchet, prepare to roll out.
That's Joe Hart, of course, who is a transformer and is responsible for crippling Gary Cahill with his transformer head. Was it his head that he got Cahill in the jaw with? How did Cahill fracture his jaw?
He got pushed into him, didn't he?
But I mean, Hart broke his jaw. What bit of Hart broke his jaw? Any part of Hart could break your jaw, couldn't it?
Really, it was the soft tissue
His
under
third
his
shoulder.
under his arm.
Any part of a transformer in the jaw will splinter it.
Yeah, well, that's what happened.
As he was turning back from a car, from the Thames barrier, into a keeper, then that was that part of his shoulder which caught.
Excellent idea for a transformer as a goalkeeper. The Thames barrier.
Thames barrier.
The Thames barrier. So Gary Cahill pushed in the back by Dries Van Martin, who's our least favourite man, even though he's fully apologised for his cowardly act.
But why do it? What's the point of that?
Heat of the moment, he says.
Because it just gives Roy Hodgson another headache, doesn't it? You know, in the sense, we've got another centre half's not there, but we still can't have Rio.
He can't pick Rio.
No matter what.
He doesn't want to pick Rio under any circumstances. Would you have picked Rio, Ian?
Yes.
Would you have picked Rio, Tyre?
I would have picked Rio.
I think the selection of Martin Kelly, which has been called an insult to Rio, is actually an insult to Anton Ferdinand, who is one of the finest English centre-backs in the Premier League, and has been for several years. Roy Keane famously said, Rio Ferdinand thinks he's the best centre-half in the world. He's not even the best centre-half in his own family. That was Roy Keane's assessment.
Yeah.
So I think it's an insult to Anson. The selection of Kelly is bizarre.
Little bit.
He's covering right back, right? He's covering right back. Someone's got to cover right back, so they picked a right back to cover right back. Carl Walker's not there. Mika Richards won't play.
Yeah, they didn't pick. Yeah, they've got to cover right back because they haven't picked a right back who's sitting at home.
So he wouldn't go on a standby list or something. But
Mika Richards is feeling disrespected because.
But he'd like to be there, though, wouldn't he?
He'd love to be there, I'm sure, but he was feeling disrespected because Stuart Pearce. And I'd be a bit disrespected if it was Stuart Pearce calling me at any time. But failing that, Stuart Pearce calling him instead of Roy Hodgson, and he's.
It's disconcerting when you get that phone call from Pearce.
I'm surprised. I wouldn't have been able to say no if Pearce was standing at my front door or something like that. But he's not happy about that. And also, I mean, Carrick as well. Carrick's a player who didn't want to be on the standby list because he's been in too many squads and not included.
Yeah, that's because he strolls about everywhere. I mean, I know he's got... He's
play for England.
Play for England if you get picked by England, you have to go. I don't understand this opting out option. I think you should go. If you don't go, you get one game ban for your club. Stuart Downing's been talking to the press as well.
Like I say, the players are really looking forward to it. And like I say, we're really looking forward to the first game. Like I say, it's good. Like you say, and like I say, we're a good team. Like I say, we haven't got the option of going out and put a coffee or walk. Like I say, but like I say,
so he's comparing what he says to
confident.
something that he said before, which is also like I say.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Rio Ferdinand?
No.
They're not talking about Rio Ferdinand.
No, of course not. No, it is.
What was it that he was saying that he was like?
I don't know.
No, he wasn't saying anything else aside from like I say. Because they don't want to ask him about his goals and assists, because that's a bit of a dodgy subject as well.
He's one of 6 Liverpool players in the squad. When Kenny Dalglish took over at Liverpool, he went out and he bought English. He bought English and finished 8th. So that worked well. And now half a dozen of them are in the England squad. Should any of them be in the England squad? Glenn Johnson's a starter.
Glenn Johnson and Steven
Gerrard.
Gerrard.
Stevie G's in the side. We're very, very short in midfield. He is now the main man in centre mid.
Yeah, but the rest of them, we got Jordan Henderson, Andy Carroll, who apparently couldn't hit a barn door in training yesterday. They actually got a barn door out.
Why are they playing with a barn door?
They've got a barn door out. They bought one out with them, special English barn door.
Come on, Andy Carroll.
You know, maybe something will change with him. Maybe he'll get on the pitch. You don't want to do it in rehearsal. You want to do it
back to Stuart Downing. I want to know when, like I say, took over from obviously, and you know, as the obvious kind of crutches for people in mid commentary.
Like I say, it happened in 2012.
Obviously.
Well, obviously, like I say.
Like I say. This is the Armchair Euros on 5 Live. It's time for the news with Faye Carruthers.
On DAB Digital Radio, digital TV, downloads and online.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
So England are playing West Indies. It started... I'm looking at a tiny television in the far distance, but even there I can see with my miracle eyes it's 14 for no wicket. I'm not just telling Ian and Tyre because they've got their back to the telly because they're not the presenter. Now, can I ask you, Tyre, you watch The Watchmen, can I ask you where you think ITV got their chairs from? Because I thought they had some interesting chairs. Vieira, Southgate and Keane, who, by the way, I cannot understand much of Keane.
There were a few missing from my garden, I think they might have.
They've got garden furniture.
They've got some garden furniture.
Right.
And where are they recording from? Because it's very
they're on a
noisy.
rooftop.
Your garden.
They're on a rooftop just over a pub, by the sound of it, because it just got noisier and noisier.
It was an interesting set. I mean, it was a fair start for ITV. I'm not sure that that Gareth Southgate and Roy Keane can sustain the squad through the tournament.
I don't think they can.
How's Vieira fitted in?
It's all about.
Well, he was wearing a shirt that I last saw on like my sort of Nigerian uncles at a wedding in the 80s.
I actually like that shirt.
Did you like that shirt?
Yeah. Well, he's commented
I actually
on that.
said to my wife, I like Patrick's shirt. She didn't say anything back.
I like the confidence of Southgate in his kind of crisp blue shirt with the white collars. It kind of gave his new status as the most sort of relaxed and most experienced pundit. I think he was carrying that.
Well, I think
that one off.
They look all right, but what they both sides lack, to be honest with you, is Gabby Logan, who's on the phone. Gabby, how are you?
Are we talking clothes?
We are.
Clothes. Yeah, what do you think of Patrick Vieira's shirt?
I didn't see Patrick Vieira's shirt.
It was a kind of pale blue with a very pale brown check. It was nice, I thought.
Okay.
Ty doesn't like it.
I like Clarence Seedorf's oatmeal jumper.
I thought, yes.
I saw our coverage, the BBC coverage of Poland, but I unfortunately had to watch the Russia game on Polish television.
Oh, how was that?
Oh, really?
I thought Clarence Seedorf's V-neck showed good confidence.
He's a very stylish man.
He is very stylish. So you are in Poland. I did notice that Alan Shearer has been relegated to the touch line. Is that because the others can't stand him?
I think he'll be going back to Salford probably any time now. Actually.
Really?
I don't have everybody's individual itineraries. If you're going to ask me to go through, I barely know what I'm doing from hour to hour. So.
They keep standing him next to people who are about a foot taller than him.
Everyone's a foot taller this year. He's shrinking like all the elderly. So, Gabby, you're in Poland and you are located quite close to the England Hotel, I understand?
I'm in Krakow, and it's lovely, the working environment here, because we have... the hotel I'm staying in is where the England press conferences happen. There's another hotel where we interview England players, and then there's another hotel, the Starry Hotel, where the England team stay and nobody goes down that street. So that's kind of like a lockdown. But everybody knows where it is. So, of course, people stand outside the barriers hoping to get a glimpse
So there are still barriers, despite this idea that they're going to mingle with the public.
Yeah, are they popping out for coffee at all?
Yesterday, I'm not sure if you saw in the build-up to the Poland game, I was busy on the balcony ready to do a hit into Gary Lineker, and I looked down and Mario Balotelli's having a coffee below me, literally about 20 feet away. So we got a quick shot of that just to show how easy it is to mingle around the square of Krakow, because he wasn't getting hassled at all. So
thing is, Gabby, what I suspect about Mario Balotelli is that all the Italian coaching staff were out looking for him. That's what I suspect.
But he wasn't exactly going incognito. He was in full bling. He had gold trainers on and gold bracelets and and a cap and stuff. So he wasn't trying to disguise himself. No. So I think maybe that's the secret. That's how if Wayne Rooney goes out like that, he might go unnoticed. Wearing his England tracksuit, he might stand out a little bit more.
So the players, the England squad, are still strictly by appointment only?
But they did, I don't know if you saw the other day, they went to this art gallery, which is actually where our studio is, and they were wandering up there through the street, it is only a 200-yard walk from their hotel, so it would have been rather ridiculous had they arrived in coaches, but they walked back, and it's a very touristy town, but it's not, although it's busy and has a great vibe and an atmosphere here, and it's a big football town, two big teams here, Cracovia and Wisla play here, so while it's not a host city, it's a town that loves its football, so it's busy, but it's not busy in the way that sometimes when you go, follow England, you get loads of England fans. You've got more kind of people here for a weekend who go, oh, I'm English, and there's some England players here. Do you know what I mean? It's a different environment.
Because they're actually playing England are playing all their matches in Ukraine in the group stage. Is that right?
Indeed. There is a chance that they could play. Even if they got to the final, they could go all the way through to the Ukraine, through the Ukraine. So I believe they've got to finish top of the group to play a game in Poland. But I don't think they care really. It's a couple of hour flight. They're looked after. It's not, it's not the end of the world.
What do you think about the France-England game? Are you going to fly down for that one?
Oh yeah, we do. We fly in and out. It's quite a hectic schedule really, because we leave tomorrow morning at 7, and then we fly back overnight after the game. We don't stay in the Ukraine after the game. So along with all the press, all the lead writers from all the papers.
Hey Gabby, just a little tip for you. You're not supposed to say the Ukraine.
Ukraine.
Yeah, you must say Ukraine.
Right?
They get really shirty about it.
Gabby, who are the best England players to talk to?
Who are the best England players to talk to? We did Scott Parker one-on-one the other day. He was the first one-on-one we did. Can I call him the Scott Parker?
Just call him the Parker.
And he, to quote my editor, who might be embarrassed to know I'm quoting him, after he'd left the room, he said, "He makes me want to be like him." He was so lovely. Is this Scott Parker's theme tune?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's got the great 50s hairdo.
Yeah, well, of course, in our stat pack, I was wrongly informed that he'd adopted this hairstyle after finding a picture of his granddad in the attic. And I put this to him, and he very politely, he almost tried to lie, and he almost tried to cover up for me and pretend it was true. And he said, "I'm really sorry, that's not true."
He looks slightly perplexed by being called the English trumpet, though. I did see where you were going with that.
Yeah, I think I liked it. I think I liked the idea of all the brass instruments to choose. It wasn't the horn, which I suppose there are other players in the squad who'd rather be the horn.
And it was because the trumpet was the last line of defence. Is that right?
First line of defence.
First line of defence for the city.
How's your Polish phrases going? I heard you practiced a few?
I've got six. Unfortunately, I don't need to use the one I thought I'd need to use the most in the hotel because they're all very good here at Speak English. But this morning, I did say, I said chesh, which is just hello casually to somebody, and they smiled, really a huge beaming smile, because it wasn't, it was a bit more casual. So I've decided I'm going to try and use them more often. But of course, with it being a touristy town, I'm sure it'd be different in other Polish cities and towns, but because this is so touristy, everybody speaks English. So
it always strikes me that even if you use a Polish phrase, if somebody speaks back to you in Polish, you're going to be completely stumped at that point anyway.
Yeah, well, I just smile inanely then. And then
now listen, Gabby, when you were a gymnast, you were forever competing against people from behind the Iron Curtain. Are the Eastern European teams drugged up to the eyeballs? Is there any evidence of that?
I was only telling a story yesterday about how I once competed against a girl from Poland in a competition in Belgium, and there was a tradition that we'd exchange gifts after the competition, especially in those days when literally the Eastern Europeans would turn up with nothing, and I gave her a packet of felt tips, and she started crying because she was so touched by these felt tips. and it struck me yesterday as we drove to the training ground. This is a very modern city I saw a kind of £100,000 sports car outside the hotel this morning.
You've got all those felt tips in your suitcase. What are you going to do with them?
You bring all the jeans along as well.
They've come a long way from having no felt tips around here, I tell you. And one of the other day we went up there are these golf buggies in the centre of town that take people on tourist rides, but we just wanted to go to the Jewish Quarter to do some filming. And the guy who drove us was Jersey Dudek's cousin, so he said. We did say this is a bit like getting in a cab in Liverpool and everybody being related to Steven Gerrard.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was Jersey Dudek's cousin. We had to believe him, and he said, "When are the wags coming?" I said, "I think you're going to be disappointed. I don't think the wives and girlfriends are coming." And he said, "But the Galleria has updated all the shops for them." So I had to go take a little look at the Galleria, and I feel it's my responsibility now to drop my well-earned BBC cash in the Galleria.
I did notice that on the, speaking of the Polish coverage, that the practice of cutting to shots of pretty girls in the crowd has returned with a vengeance in 2012.
I had to say, and I don't mean to be pervy, the Polish women are very pretty. There's lots of I don't know whether they're being shipped in and kind of wandering around because England are here.
Get stuck in, Gabby.
Lots of very pretty women wearing short shorts, which is also...
this is Armchair Euros, this is torment for us. It's football and short shorts.
We're here.
I noticed the shops are full of short shorts as well, so I'm not adopting the local costume. I'm sticking to my trousers. It's going to be 34 degrees on Monday in the Ukraine. So.
Well done, you.
Yeah. So,
listen, Gabby, before I let you go, when you were a gymnast, did you have how many operations did you have on injuries?
I didn't have any operations. I had loads of physio. I had sciatica in my back, and as my physio told me, my back is predisposed to sciatica. I would only notice this had I been either a rhythmic gymnast or I painted the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. And they were his exact words. So, and you couldn't do that in a leotard, so I opted for gymnastics. So I just had loads of physio. But
Sistine Chapel's not competitive, is it, really, generally?
Not enough for me, no, unless you're going to have a race-off,
Well, Gabby, look, have a great trip to Ukraine. Let's hope we get a result.
Ukraine. I'm in Ukraine. Yeah. It doesn't sound right. It's too many consonants. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay,
have a great day.
Thanks,
Gabby. Bye.
So every week on Armchair Euros, what we're going to do, we're going to pick our team of the week and our game of the week. And it's tough this week because there have been two games. Two games. However, it's still quite a tough call to make between what was the more exciting game. Was it Russia's dismantling of the Czech Republic? For the first time since 1960, you can't say those things. Or was it the weird thriller as the hopes of a nation were dashed by the bankrupt Greeks? Ian?
I'm going for Poland against Greece because I had no expectation at all, and it turned out to be very exciting, and either team could have won it, and that's the sort of game I like. You
don't like a one-sided one. T, what about you?
Well, I want to go against Ian, but sadly it's Poland-Greece for me. I liked the excitement of sending offs. I like goalkeeping mistakes. I like the fact that Greeks surprised us. But in the other game, there's a moment which stood out for me, of course, was when Russia scored, and it was a red Russian goal. which was as it was called by Peter Drury. It's almost like
you always rely on
ITV. So that almost made it for me. It took me back to when he said when Shabalala scored for South Africa, and he said it was a goal for Africa.
Oh.
So that kind of almost made the game for me.
Bright orange, wasn't he?
Of course,
that was a favourite of ours.
Which might come back.
Poland, Greece.
So game of the week, we're going Poland, Greece. Team of the week, though, it's got to be the Russians, hasn't it?
Do you know what? I do like the Greeks. I've got a little soft spot. Why? Because for the first 45 minutes, they were as bad as I've ever seen a team play in that sort of major competition. And then they came out with 10 minutes and they took the game to the Poles. And for that, and for, like I say, having Georgios Samaras play, he was terrible. I couldn't believe how bad he was. Some guy on BBC said he was arguably Greece's best player. Saj Chowdhury on BBC Online said that Samaras was arguably Greece's best player. Well, I will argue with you right now. So I'm going
arguably
for
the only one he noticed or remembered, mainly because he looks like Jesus.
Yeah, he does.
When I say he looks like Jesus, we don't really know what Jesus looked like.
I think Jesus looks more like some of the Scandinavian players.
I think he probably did.
I think you have to go Russia for Team of the Week.
Team of the Week.
Yeah, great. Out of the four, the most exciting.
What's the name of the 21-year-old kid who scored 2 of their goals?
Zagoev.
Alan.
Yeah, his name's Alan, you know that.
Alan.
Yeah.
What is a Russian? Is that
Alan.
a Russian name? Alan?
I'm Russian. My name is Alan. I enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
He's my player of the tournament. It's a shoe-in.
Is he the only Alan in the entire tournament?
Player of the tournament, Alan. No, I liked
I'll
him
check
very
that
much.
stat.
All right, yeah, you'll have
And
that
I'll
one
check
for
that in
next
the
week.
news.
Yeah.
So, game of the week next week, there'll be about 19 games, so we
We've got
might
more
have to
to choose
devote an
from.
entire hour to it.
Yeah.
But at the moment, it's game of the week. It's just out of 2.
But a good start.
It's a good start. It was an excellent start. I'm quite looking forward to it. Tomorrow, or today, is
Today, 2 more games.
Denmark, Holland,
Yeah.
and Germany, Portugal. Portugal, IA.
There's some games.
We're going to
there.
be talking to Jan Mulby about Denmark. It's the sort of thing he knows about. Have you got any thoughts?
What, on those games? I think
Danes?
Germany will win. Oh, sorry, Denmark. I think that Holland are going to beat them. I think Holland are possibly the best team in the
Do you think
tournament.
Holland... More and more people are saying to me that Holland are the favourites. More and more people are saying that. I think it might be after this.
Tiki-taka is over. Tiki-taka is over. Tiki-taka, 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 tiki-taka is over.
Dara Green last week. I am stunned at how little support there seems to be for the best team that we've seen in the last 4 years, Spain.
Yeah, but they're not as good as they were.
But they're still better than
They've
most
had a
people
hard
have
season.
been.
all their players have played in 100 games each.
As
They're
indeed
all
are the
knackered.
Germans, who everyone is saying are favourites. They're the 2 top German clubs had a very busy season in the same way that people are saying the same in Spain. It's the same for all the players.
There's interest in it worldwide, Have you heard this?
I think, Alexi, for a lot of American soccer fans, they're invested domestically, but when it comes to big names, Leo Messi and about Cristiano Ronaldo.
Sure.
How's the outlook looking for both those guys and their teams?
Well, Leo Messi won't be there because it's Argentina.
Right.
Fantastic. We should be able to find them every week.
Love them. This is Armchair Euros on 5 Live. We'll be back after the news.
Online at bbc.co.uk/5live.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Hou je toeter uit de laag, want we gaan naar het TK met Mark van Bommel en Van der Vaart. Wesley Sneijder aan de bal, winnen we van Portugal. We vegen ze allemaal van de kaart. En met Johnny achterin gaat er echt geen bal meer in. Hij gooit de hele boel op slot. En met Ibi langs de lijn loopt de aanval.
Jan Mulby. No, he's disappeared.
Hello, Jan.
Oh, Jan. There you are. Jan, how are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
Now, the game is taking place in Kharkiv. Where is Kharkiv?
I'm not too sure. It's in Ukraine.
It's in Ukraine. Oh, that's tied to that up. We
Absolutely.
weren't sure at all.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are you staying near the Danish team or it's separate?
No,
hotel?
we're not. No. The Danish team, like most other teams, are staying in Poland. They flew in yesterday, trained last night, and returning straight after the game tonight.
Oh, so it's not just England who are flying hundreds of miles to play against-
No. I think quite a few teams. I think it's actually only the French who are staying in
Have you
Ukraine.
spoken?
The rest.
Have you spoken to any Ukrainian nationals who are feeling a bit put out that no one's staying with them?
Not as of yet. But I'm sure once we get to the stadium there'll be 1 or 2 people in there, but we're a little bit isolated out in the middle of nowhere in this hotel we're in at the moment. So.
Now, listen, Jan, Denmark qualified really, really well. Qualified in the group, am I right, with Portugal, finished above Portugal, and yet now they're in the tournament, are being talked about almost as if they're the whipping boys in the group of death. Do you think that's fair?
No, I don't. the last 2 qualifiers. We've been in with Portugal twice, finished top twice. We're a good team, well organised, with and without the ball, well rehearsed in the 4-3-3 system, and whereas the names might not roll off the tongue, we're a good solid team. We'll give the Dutch a game, that's for sure.
What do you think about Christian Eriksen? He's the name that everyone keeps mentioning as the future of Danish football almost.
Yeah, well, I think like anyone, you're always desperate for your next superstar, aren't you? And that at the moment looks like it's going to be Christian Eriksen. I have to say, as of yet, he's still waiting for his international breakthrough. But he's a very talented kid, got 2 great feet, sees things early, capable of scoring a goal or 2. So fingers crossed he does well. If not, we got others.
Nicholas Bentner, he thinks he's a superstar, doesn't he?
He is a superstar. He's Denmark's best player for years, believe me. No, believe me, he's very important in the way that we play. He's played a lot of games this season for Sunderland. He's in good physical form. We are anyway. We're expecting big things of him.
Has Dennis Rommedahl still got it?
I mean, the fact that he's still in this. Yeah, the fact that he's still in the squad. But it's a problem sometimes. We got 14, 15 really good players, and then we kind of, scrape around for the rest of them.
It's not a problem England have got.
Tell me about the manager, Jan. Was he a teammate of yours when you were playing for Denmark?
Yeah, he is, yeah. Absolutely. I played with Morten back in the 80s. He was a great player. He's been a coach now for Denmark for 12 years.
That's remarkable, isn't it? 12 years as a national team coach is quite unusual.
Yeah, it's very unusual, but he's done a good job. I mean, a lot of the qualifications, we're regulars now at tournaments. Yes. It's all down to him. He's a super coach.
Did you always think he was going to be a coach when you played with him?
Yeah, funny enough, we often say that, we always thought, but with Morten, I mean, he had an awful lot to say. He was the captain back in the 80s as well, but he spent a lot of time with the coach, and he's been out, he's gained his experience at clubs in Europe, Cologne and Ajax and places like that, but we're just delighted we've got him.
So he's just happy to be the national manager now. You're not going to lose him to a club side again?
It looks that way. He's settled into that role. He works very hard with the players when he get them together. But it just appears that that's his niche, being an international manager.
Yeah, and you had a great Euro experience in the 80s with that team. Was it like Elkjaer, Preben Elkjaer and Laudrup and so
Good
forth?
Team.
Great team.
I
grew up watching that team. Used to love them. So
we sort of burst on the scene in the 80s. Qualified for the first European Championships ever, Denmark in '84, and then the first World Cup in '86. And it was a great team filled with great players. You just mentioned the likes of Elkjaer and Michael Laudrup, but let's not forget Frank Arnesen, who people will know from his time at Chelsea as a sporting director. What a good player he was. We had a lot of good players, and we excited a lot of fans because of the football that we played. We attacked, we scored goals. It was great entertainment.
It was fantastic. Now, the other game in the group is Germany against Portugal. You must fancy yourselves against Portugal a little bit, then?
Yeah, we do, yeah. Absolutely. We fancy ourselves tonight. We're well aware of the many good Dutch players, but they've got weaknesses, and we're going to get after them. But we definitely fancy a draw tonight, beat Portugal, and then put a bit of pressure on Germany in the last game.
Is this attitude of yours a typical Danish attitude? Because it's not a typical English attitude. Is this one of the reasons why the Danes do so well? Because you have self-assurance, confidence?
Yeah, but I mean, we play to a level, we very rarely fall below that. So tonight what you'll see is a Danish team somewhere near 100% of what they've got. If that's good enough, then great. If the Dutch bring their A game, we will find it difficult, but we're more than ready, and we're quite happy looking at the Dutch team and think there's weaknesses there, and if we get it right, we can expose those.
Now, again, years ago, you and I were on a radio show together, and I'm talking about 20 years ago, and you told me an anecdote about when you signed for Liverpool where the team bus stopped outside a chip shop on the way home and everyone had fish and chips. Do you remember that?
I do indeed, yeah.
It's your first ever sighting of fish and chips. What were your thoughts as the fish and chips came on the coach?
I've never seen anything like it.
Tasty though, aren't they? They are tasty.
How are you finding the food? How are you finding the food in Ukraine? You say you're a bit bored in that hotel. Are they looking after you?
Yeah, the food has been.
Is that why everyone's staying in Poland? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I think there's a reason. Yeah, and the food is definitely one of them. Yeah, absolutely.
Have you found anyone to play poker with out there?
Not yet. Not yet.
So
I've
do you
tried
like
everything,
poker?
but yeah.
Pop into the England
Hopefully
camp.
we'll get somebody.
Now listen, we've heard that Chris Waddle has found a place where you can get beer for 40 pence.
Is that the challenge now, is it?
Yeah. Well, your challenge is to find Chris Waddle.
Has he been scouring? Has he been scouring the bars, doing a comparative survey?
He's a Geordie. It's a Geordie, and it's his responsibility to find the cheapest beer in Poland.
Find the cheapest beer.
I'm convinced in Kharkov there will be cheaper places, and we will be brought back.
Yeah.
We will find them.
Yeah, and who are you doing the game with?
I'm doing the game
Live?
with Mr. Green, Alan Green, this evening, 5 o'clock British time. So we're looking forward to that.
You're really up for it, aren't you? This is going to be very exciting. Tell me a little bit about Peter Schmeichel's boy. Do you think he's a good keeper? He's joined the squad, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah. Obviously our first choice keeper Thomas Songs got injured. Called up Casper Schmeichel. Casper's at age now, isn't it, where you know, if you're going to make it as a top draw keeper, you need to be involved. He's 25. This is his first experience of being in the national team. He will only be third choice. We probably won't see him during the championships. Will he ever be as good as his dad? No, I don't think so. But in his own right,
it's a big ask, though, isn't it, to be as good as his dad?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best goalkeeper in the world for probably 5 or 6 years in the 90s.
Yeah. Well, listen, Jan, have a good time tonight. Good luck to Denmark.
That's very kind. Thank you.
And good to talk to you. We'll speak to you again, hopefully.
See you, Jan.
Cheers, Jan.
Cheers now. Bye-bye.
It's all right.
It's time for some travel. West Indies are 25 for no wicket.
They're hanging in there.
It's a slow scoring opener. That's after 11 overs. The test match is on at Edgbaston.
The outfield must be like a sponge, though, mustn't it?
It probably is.
Yeah.
There's water running across it from Wales even as we speak. I didn't ask Jan Mulby about his surgeries.
Yeah.
I can't believe what an opportunity to ask Jan Mulby about his surgery.
He must have had a few, you'd imagine.
He's had
Should
a
we just
tummy
make
tuck.
them up?
He's had a tummy tuck, I'm certain.
It's not necessarily an injury as such.
What do you do when you have your moobs removed? No, this is unfair. But he did carried a bit of timber, Jan.
He did.
You thought that might have told on the knees. Possibly there were some issues there. I will never know now.
But he only went backwards and forwards about 10 yards either side.
He did function largely in the centre circle.
I did spend part of this morning watching a couple of Jan Mulby goals. Actually, there's an excellent goal he scored against, I think it was Man U, from deep in his own half. Never seen him move so quickly before.
He shot from his own half.
What, with the celebration?
He ran from his own half.
He ran.
Well, you sure he wasn't being carried by Terry McDermott?
But no, he was part of a superb Danish team.
Were they even in the same team in that Liverpool team? Hey, speaking of Liverpool players, they need a big game from Steven Gerrard. A big game from Steven Gerrard.
Big tournament. He owes us
the main man now. 90 caps. This is it now. There's no Lampard in the way. There's no Paul Scholes in the way. Can Stevie G deliver? Is he going to play as part of a pair with Parker, meaning he has defensive responsibility?
I think it's going to be quite an attacking team, isn't it? I mean,
is he going to be trying to get up there? Because he's going to like to play Ashley Young off Welbeck. Maybe is he going to be getting up there with them? How are we going to function?
Well, Andy Carroll up front or Welbeck?
Welbeck's.
You think Welbeck's starting?
David James would like to see on Match of the Day 2 yesterday. David James, check shirt, incidentally, wanted to see Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain in the second striking position.
Yeah, I did notice that.
I wouldn't start with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain just yet. I mean, it's early days. Still, 6 games to go in this tournament for England.
I only watched a little bit of it because I was distracted by Phil Collins on Sky Arts doing a concert where he.
Why were you watching a concert with Phil Collins on Sky Arts?
Because I can.
Oh, yeah. You can, of course.
Both my children were asleep.
If you watched any more,
on the sofa, and I couldn't reach the remote, and it was on.
Yeah.
If you'd watched any more, Alan, you would have seen some expert hair from Robbie Savage.
And this Phil Collins. Yes. Phil Collins is on this thing, and he's doing Motown songs, and he starts to do "Papa Was a Rolling Stone."
Oh God,
Phil Collins.
Oh
doing
God,
the full
that's
intro,
wrong.
and then he starts going, "Papa was a Rolling Stone."
Was he drumming? Was he drumming?
Where his hat was his home.
Stay within your limits, Phil.
Your Papa wasn't a Rolling Stone, Phil. So while he's doing this song, I googled him. Right?
What was his dad?
It comes up on Wikipedia. Phil Collins' dad was an insurance agent from Hounslow.
It doesn't really scan in. Papa was an insurance agent.
Papa was an insurance agent from Hounslow. Wherever he parked his car, he'd sell a policy. His name was Greville. He bought me a drum kit when I was 5.
Was his name Greville? Greville.
Greville Collins.
Greville.
I met a guy called Greville.
Called Greville Collins, and he was married to Winifred. He was not a Rolling Stone. And he didn't spend his time drinking and chasing women.
I was in Afghanistan last year. I met a bloke called Greville Bibby.
Did you?
Yeah, he was a colonel. Yeah, I was the poshest person I've ever met in my life.
Not enough Grevilles about.
Well, I'd never met one until that point. This is the second Greville I've encountered in the last few months. It's quite impressive. Suddenly they're just popping up everywhere.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home. Hounslow. Anyway, it tickled me greatly. Then I did go back. to
Match of the
David James and
Robbie Savage.
Sockless
Robbie Savage.
Oh, for goodness, really? No socks on the BBC?
Hair of a prostitute.
I mean, we're wearing socks, and it's, the radio. I mean,
are you wearing socks?
Yeah.
Are you wearing socks?
No, I got white crocodile skin shoes on.
I'm actually naked from the waist down.
just leave them to imagine that.
We're all on Twitter. Particularly at DJ Tayo, who's never off Twitter. I mean, it's a miracle you've sat here for a whole hour without going. Oh, you actually did go online during the travel news.
He's got the phone there. He's got the phone there.
Ian D. Stone, I'm on there as well, but I don't tweet anymore because I get too much abuse. And at BBC Armchair is our official programme. Now we need to come up with a villain of the week and a man of the week. I mean, this is what we like to do each week on Armchair Euros. Who is our villain of the week? Who is the worst man of the tournament thus far?
Well, I've got two. One's in the tournament, one's on the side.
There's only been 2 games, by the way.
Well, I'd like to count. It's still a week. I'd like to put Dries Van Martin in there for what for his unnecessary push on Gary Cahill.
Dries Van Martin is the man who pushed Gary Cahill into. I mean, in some ways, you can blame Dries Van Martin, but when you have a man with the solidity of the Thames barrier in between Gary Cahill and his place in the England side,
between a rock and a hard place.
But it's a good shout for villain of the week. It was a spiteful, nasty little thing, but actually from within the tournament.
Well, in that case, let's go Carlos Velasco Caballo. His,
Spanish ref. Sent off. Who did he send off?
He sent off the the Greek
Papastathopoulos. Don't say the Greek bloke.
Papastathopoulos.
There you go. That's what I said.
For heading a ball. And then for falling on someone who'd slipped.
Yeah, outrageous. Outrageous.
Get off.
3-game ban straight away.
Get off. And you can't play in the next game either.
We've got to stamp that sort of behaviour out.
Disgrace to the game.
And falling over.
And meanwhile, is there going to be any retrospective action against Lewandowski for pretending to be elbowed in the head?
No, he got slapped on the side of the face, didn't he?
Get up. Well, get on with it.
I've been slapped. It's not nice. I have. Nobody likes to be slapped. He did go down a little bit easily, but then,
I don't know if
they all do.
Slapped.
Don't
jump up for headers if you don't want to get whacked in the eye. It's part of it. Have you seen Mick McCarthy's face? Yeah. What about Steve Bruce? His nose starts from the back of his head.
He never went down, did he? No, that's true. I know what you're saying.
Never cried.
So can I have villain of the week?
Yeah, go on.
Chesney. Wojciech Szczesny for just letting it all go to his head a little bit too much. I think he's just getting ahead of himself, don't you?
Well,
I mean, I like him, the boy. I do like him.
I don't think he was the only Polish player who froze a little bit under the pressure.
They started off brilliantly, the Poles. First half they should have been 2 or 3 up, and then Szczesny just
really. I don't think they had any real chances.
Oh, what? I watched the game live. They had 2 great chances aside from the one that they scored, and they should have been out of sight. And
the Greek left back spent the first half going after you, Claude, or Claude. Letting as many people through as
nice
possible.
Ground though, with a roof and everything.
Nice, lovely ground.
Like that, National Stadium.
1/10 of the cost
great
of
acoustics for DJ Karmatronic.
I don't know. I just made that up, but it probably was. Wembley was almost $1 billion.
DJ Karmatronic, I thought, rocked it
with the crowd.
Do you know this guy? Is he
Don't put your hands up with the crowd if you're driving.
He's not a personal
steer with your knees. Pardon? Is he a mate of yours too? You know all the DJs, isn't he?
No, he's not.
Karmatronic, I know what he's done there.
This tune is featuring DJ Ron. It's called The Game of the World. I did check that out beforehand. He's kind of like he's Italian superstar DJ.
Italian?
Superstar, Al. We've never heard of him.
Italian?
He's Italian, yeah.
Well, can they get a Polish one?
Have they got a Polish superstar DJ?
Well, the song, since you asked, the song, there was an intentional blend of Polish and Ukrainian folk music with a contemporary twist.
They've got discos in Poland, haven't they?
How old are you?
46. So the Spanish ref's villain of the week, man of the week at the moment, it sounds like it's DJ Karmatronic.
Well, it's close to DJ Karmatronic. If not, then I'll say
DJ Karmatronic is your man of the week.
Only for the gold jacket he was wearing.
DJ, I'm sorry. I'll have Pete Tong. He's done great.
It's the only one you know.
It is. No, I know the other one as well.
Dave Lee Travis.
The only one I know is Gary Davies, because he's got the same.
I'd like to go for Zalpingidis. Zalpingidis. He came on. He scored one, scored another one just offside, and he got the penalty. He won the penalty as well. And I do like to see someone celebrating a penalty wildly before it's been taken, because you do look really stupid.
That was ridiculous. Arshavin was great. I don't want to go on about Samras, but he just gives every pub player hope. I think.
What about Alan? What about Alan for man of the week?
Well, you can have him if you want. You having Alan?
Too obvious.
He's comfortably my man of the week.
He was good. But Arshavin, I thought, had a great game.
I like Vaclav Pilar, who's played on the left for the Czechs and had great touch, good feet, in tight spaces, scored a clever goal.
Lovely goal.
And he plays for a team in the Czech Republic. It's got to be cost about £6 million.
Yeah.
He's got Newcastle United written all over it.
He probably has.
He'd probably have to go via the French league, though, in order to do that.
So who are we having?
So who we got for our game of the week?
Alan Dagayoff.
Yeah, you're going for Alan for player of the week.
I still can't say that name. I've been practicing it all morning.
Zagayev,
going to call him Alan.
Yeah. Alan.
The Russian guy scored twice against the Czechs.
Shagayev.
Yeah, him. He's man of the week. The Spanish bloke.
Carvalho.
Yeah. Carvalho.
You could almost have been in Madrid there, couldn't you? It was like just suddenly being transported straight into Spain.
You know what that is? That's a booking, mate.
Okay.
He'd have been off by now. He's the villain of the week. Game of the week we had just Poland against Greece because it was an epic encounter that disappointed the nation, but they'll be back. I still fancy Poland to go through.
You do. Tight group.
So yeah, that's it really.
It's a group of life. Group A.
The man of the week. Still, it's DJ. I've just been handed a piece of paper that says "Man of the Week" DJ Karmatronic. It's in ink.
I'm happy to have that every week. DJ Karmatronic. I just why not?
I'll try and find another DJ Karmatronic tune for next week.
Do you think that Russia can win the tournament?
Good shout.
What's their route through off the top of your head?
They've got to play Germany or Holland in the second phase.
Yeah.
If they get through, so no.
No, then.
Come on, the Russians. Well, they're our team of the week anyway. We'll be back next week. We'll have a lot of games to talk about, including there's 2 England games between now and next week.
Come on, England.
2 England games.
Go on, England.
Both of which are going to win. We're all on Twitter at BBC Armchair, Ian D. Stone, DJ Tayo, Alan Davis 1. Facebook, Armchair Euros. It's a USP content production